last night, my grandfather passed away. He had been on hospice for maybe 6 months in the spring or late winter of this last year. He had kind of taken a turn, and so he went to live in a nursing home, and my grandma would go and visit him every day. Then earlier this week, he stopped eating and drinking and just kind of wouldn't wake up. And then he passed away last night with my dad and grandma there with him. But it's tough because I'm not there. I didn't get to say goodbye. And I won't be able to be at the funeral because I'm immunocompromised, and so I just feel like there's no closure. It just doesn't feel real to me. And I can't be with family. I can't say goodbye with family or share memories with family. I just feel really disconnected. But I did want to share some memories of my grandfather. So first, he was an absolutely incredible carver or woodsmith, however you would want to call it. So he actually carved this doll, and it is so beautiful. He had a male version, a male doll as well, and so that is something that I will always remember him by, is his incredible carving. He also carved this dove. He was just an incredible carver. He carved a lot of wood ducks, and he had an incredible life. He always went deer hunting and trapping, and he lived a lot off the land, and he was a farmer. So my grandparents live in Illinois, and so he worked all his life on a farming. So it was a really hard life, and he's shared so many stories over the years of how he grew up. His childhood was really rough. He had an alcoholic parent and, you know, a lot of brothers and sisters, and so it was very, very difficult. But he made a life for himself with my grandmother, and they had 2 kids, my aunt and my dad, and then they had a bunch of grandchildren as well, and a great-granddaughter. And so he lived an incredible life, and he was an amazing storyteller. So he would just tell these absolutely wild stories, either from his childhood or from his years working on the farm. And my dad and I actually both wrote books about him. So I wrote kind of this short story collection, and my dad wrote a book that he actually self-published, and it was this incredible book. I'll link it below. You can actually go purchase it if you would like to honor my grandfather and read a little bit about his life, because he just had the most wild stories that you couldn't even make up. I mean, it was wilder than having ever made them up. He almost died probably 7 times growing up. I mean, he had just so many close calls in his life. But he made it with all of his fingers and toes, you know, well into, he was 81. So that is a really good long life. And so I will miss him. We will all miss him so much, you know, but he's not in pain or discomfort anymore, and that's what's important. I put together a collage, kind of a small video reel of photos from his childhood. Growing up, you'll see him progress through some really funny haircuts, and then he met my grandmother, and they had just the most beautiful romantic story. They met, and then 8 months later, I think they were married, and they just started a life together and had this beautiful love story that has kind of been this shining star of love stories that I've always looked up to in my life. And my grandma, you know, was just by his side through everything, and he was, you know, by her side, and it's just been absolutely beautiful. So you'll see kind of that photo progression, and then when I was a baby and you know, my grandpa and I, and then growing up, and then yeah, just some really fun photos. And then I have a little photo collage at the end, so I'd love to share that with everyone. Some other memories were we used to, at my grandparents', have pancakes. These, we call them griddle cakes. They were so good, and my grandpa would drown them in, first of all, butter. He would just lather the butter on, and then he would drown it in syrup, and it just looked gross how much was on there, but he loved it, and it was just really funny to watch him drown these girdle cakes in syrup. Yeah, and I have so many memories of playing cards around the kitchen table at my grandparents' house, and Grandpa would just be telling stories, and a lot of them are just so funny, and so we would just be laughing and giggling until we practically peed our pants. It was such a fun time. We went fishing a lot when I was young. You'll see some photos from us fishing. Those were amazing memories, and yeah, I will cherish all of that, and I'm so grateful for my grandparents and providing a life for their children, which then provided a life for me. So I'm very grateful for them for teaching me, you know, the importance of hard work and always doing the right thing. And so yeah, I will miss you, Grandpa, and I love you. I'm such an ugly crier, sorry. I know you're looking over us and you're really proud. So, thank you.